Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking into something pretty counterintuitive.
Right.
There's new research suggesting that generative AI, the tech everyone thinks makes us smarter, well, it might actually make high-level forecasts worse.
Yeah, and not just worse, but it seems to pump up overconfidence quite a
Yeah.
bit. It challenges that whole idea of AI as this uh, perfectly rational partner for big decisions.
Exactly.
Huh.
So that's our mission today. We want to unpack why this happens based on this specific study and, figure out what lessons you can pull from it for your own work.
Let's dive in.
Okay, so this experiment, it sounds fascinating. How did they actually set it up?
Well, they got about almost 300 executives and managers together, people in an executive education session,
Okay.
and they gave them a real-world task: forecast NVIDIA's stock price.
Ah, NVIDIA.
Yeah.
Good choice, given its wild ride recently.
Yeah.
Very relevant.
Definitely got their attention. So first step, everyone individually, privately, puts down their prediction for the stock price 1 month out.
Got it. Initial gut feeling, basically. Submitted privately.
Precisely. Then came the consultation phase, and this is where they split the group.
Right, the two groups. What was the difference again?
Okay, group one was the control. They called it peer discussion. These folks just, talked it over in small groups, shared their forecasts, their reasoning, typical meeting stuff.
No AI involved there, just human interaction.
None at all. Mimicking that traditional decision-making process.
And group two?
Group two is the ChatGPT consultation group. They could ask ChatGPT anything about NVIDIA stock trends, analysis, even ask for its own 1-month forecast.
Okay, so full access to the AI.
Full access, but and this is key, they were explicitly told not to discuss it with any other person, just them and the AI.
Ah, okay. So isolating the AI's influence.
Exactly. Representing someone relying primarily on an AI advisor.
And then, crucially, after this chat period, either with peers or with AI, everyone submitted a revised forecast.
That's it. And comparing those initial forecasts to the revised ones between the two groups, that's where the really surprising findings emerge.
Okay, lay it on us. What happened? You said the results were striking.
They really were. So first off, baseline check. Before any consultation, both groups' initial forecasts, statistically identical. Everyone started roughly on the same page.
Makes sense. So the difference came purely from the consultation.
Purely from that. And here's divergence number one. The ChatGPT group became way more optimistic.
More optimistic? How much?
On average, they bumped up their 1-month price target by about $5.11.
Wow. Okay. And the peer discussion group, did they get optimistic too?
Nope.
Yeah.
Completely the opposite. They actually became more conservative.
Real?
Yeah, they lowered the price estimates, on average, by around $2.20. And they're also just more likely to stick with their first guess or maybe nudge it down slightly.
Okay, hold on. So AI advice leads to more optimism. Pure discussion leads to more caution. That's interesting in itself.
Yeah.
But which group was actually better?
Ah, well, that's the kicker, isn't it? When they compared the forecasts to the actual NVIDIA stock performance a month later,
Yeah.
both groups overall were still a bit too optimistic. NVIDIA didn't quite hit either set of targets, but the executives who consulted ChatGPT, their revised predictions were actually worse than their own initial guesses. The AI consultation actively harmed their accuracy.
No way. Seriously?
Seriously. Whereas the peer discussion group, even though they became more conservative, their revised forecasts were significantly better, more accurate than their initial ones.
So talking to other humans improved their judgment. Talking to the AI made it worse. That's wild.
It is. And it connects directly to overconfidence.
How did they measure that?
They looked at how many people gave pinpoint predictions.
Yeah.
Like forecasting $550.75 instead of just $550.
That implies a high degree of certainty. Maybe false certainty.
Exactly. Research links that kind of precision to overconfidence. And guess what?
Let me guess. ChatGPT group used more pinpoints?
Significantly more. Consulting the AI boosted this marker of overconfidence. Meanwhile, the peer discussion group actually became less likely to use pinpoints. Their overconfidence seemed to decrease after talking with others.
Okay, this is huge. AI leads to worse, more overconfident predictions. Peer talk leads to better, less overconfident predictions. Why? What's going on under the hood here?
Right, that's the critical question. The researchers dug into this and came up with basically 5 key reasons why these outcomes might have diverged so much.
Okay, what's reason number one?
The first one is pretty straightforward: extrapolation and trend writing.
Meaning the AI just looked at NVIDIA's recent past.
Pretty much. Think about it. NVIDIA had been on this incredible upward tear. ChatGPT, especially the version used which didn't have live up to the second data, is really good at spotting patterns. So it saw a steep upward trend, and its logical conclusion was,
More steep upward trend, keep going up.
exactly. It just extended the line. It doesn't have that human intuition or, market feel to say, maybe this rally is getting overheated.
Yeah.
It just follows the historical data pattern.
Okay, so it's a pattern machine without a reality check. Makes sense. What else?
Second reason, authority bias and detail overload.
Being impressed by the AI.
Totally. Executives reported being, well, kind of blown away by how detailed, how analytical, how confident ChatGPT sounded.
Right. It spits out all this data and sounds so sure of itself.
Yeah, and compared to that fire hose of confident analysis, their own initial, maybe more intuitive forecast probably felt a bit flimsy.
So they deferred to the expert in the machine, the AI authority.
It seems like it. They gave its suggestions more weight, maybe more than their own judgment deserved.
Okay. That connects to the confidence thing, too. What's number 3?
Number 3 is about emotion, or rather, the lack thereof.
The AI doesn't get scared.
Or greedy, or cautious, or anything else. Humans looking at a chart that's gone nearly vertical might feel a bit of vertigo, right? Little fear of heights, wondering if a drop is coming.
Yeah, that too good to be true feeling.
Exactly. ChatGPT doesn't have that. It provides a purely logical analysis, untainted by anxiety or emotion, which can be good, but it also means it won't instinctively pull back from a super optimistic trend just because it feels risky. There's no fear of being wrong for the AI.
So that lack of emotional check allows for these bolder, maybe less grounded forecasts. Interesting. And the peer groups, how did that play out there?
Well, that leads perfectly into the fourth point, peer calibration and social dynamics.
So what happens when humans talk?
A couple of things. You get diverse viewpoints, obviously. But also, in a professional group, there's often a subtle pressure not to look foolishly optimistic.
The don't be the sucker effect you mentioned earlier.
Kind of, yeah. It might create what the researchers called a potential spiral of skepticism. If everyone's a little hesitant to put out a wildly bullish number, the group might collectively moderate itself, pulling towards a more conservative average. It's almost the opposite of groupthink. It's group caution.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
The social dynamic itself acts as a brake. Okay, one more reason.
The fifth one is the illusion of knowledge.
Meaning just having the AI makes you feel smarter.
Essentially, yes. There's existing research showing that access to vast information, like the internet, or powerful tools, like AI, can make people feel like they know more than they actually do.
Right.
So plugging into ChatGPT, this incredibly powerful system with access to, seemingly everything, that likely amplified this effect, made the participants feel overly informed and confident in the answers they were getting.
Wow. Okay, so just to recap the 5. AI extrapolates trends blindly. We get overly impressed by its authority and detail. It lacks emotional checks. Peer groups introduce healthy skepticism and social moderation. And using powerful AI can create an illusion of knowing it all.
That's a pretty good summary of the mechanisms they identified.
So knowing all that, this has some pretty big implications for how we should actually use these AI tools, especially in business. What are the takeaways here?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not about throwing AI out, obviously. It's about using it wisely, mitigating these pitfalls. The researchers suggest 4 key lessons.
Okay, lesson number 1.
First, be aware of AI's biases and the illusion of knowledge. Just knowing that Gen AI can skew optimistic and make you overconfident is a huge first step.
So awareness is key. How do you put that into practice?
When you use AI for something like a forecast, be specific. Tell it what data to use. Ask it for a confidence interval, not just a single number. And maybe most importantly, ask the AI to play devil's advocate.
Ask it how it could be wrong.
Exactly. Force it and yourself to consider the downsides, the potential flaws in the forecast. That directly counteracts the optimism bias.
That's a really practical tip. Okay, what's lesson 2? If AI makes us overconfident, should we just stick to human chats?
Not necessarily. Lesson 2 is don't ditch human discussion. Instead, leverage it.
Combine them.
Precisely. This study really highlights how valuable that peer discussion was as a counterbalance. Maybe the best approach is hybrid.
Like get a quick analysis from ChatGPT.
Yeah, use it for speed and data crunching. But then bring that analysis to your team. Debate it, challenge it, build a culture where you use the new tools, sure, but alongside healthy human skepticism and dialogue.
Right, using AI as an input, not the final decision maker. Okay, lesson 3.
Third, critical thinking is key, no matter the source. This sounds obvious, but the study shows how easy it is to forget.
Meaning question the AI just like you'd question a colleague.
Exactly. Probe the basis of any forecast or recommendation. If it's from ChatGPT, ask, what data is this based on? Is it missing anything recent? What are the assumptions here?
And if it's from peers?
Ask.
Yeah.
Are we being too cautious? Are we falling into groupthink? Just the opposite kind? Don't just accept outputs. Treat AI as a starting point for your own thinking, not the end point.
And you mentioned the researchers did this themselves.
Yeah, which is a great
Or-
example. They explicitly pointed out the limitations of their own study. It was an exec ed setting, not real high-stakes trading, limited sample size, only NVIDIA stock. The ChatGPT version wasn't real-time. Acknowledging limitations is part of critical thinking.
That's a great point. Apply skepticism everywhere. Okay, and the final lesson. For organizations.
Lesson 4 is, train and set guidelines for AI use in teams.
So don't just roll out the tools, but teach people how to use them, pitfalls and all.
Absolutely. Make it clear across the organization that AI can induce overconfidence. You need guardrails, just like, Ulysses needed wax in his ears for the sirens.
Huh, okay. So what kind of guardrails?
Could be simple policies, like maybe you require a round of peer review after consulting an AI for a major forecast. Or maybe you mandate generating a worst-case scenario analysis alongside any AI-driven optimistic case.
Institutionalize that blend of AI analysis and human judgment.
Exactly. Deliberately mix the inputs to prevent leaning too heavily on potentially biased AI advice.
This has been really illuminating. It feels like the big message is, even with incredibly powerful AI, human judgment, critical thinking, that collaborative element,
Yeah.
it's not just relevant, it's maybe more crucial than ever.
I think that's spot on. It's not AI versus humans. It's about finding the right synergy, the right balance.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need that AI-driven analysis to break out of human biases, maybe uncover patterns you missed. But other times, like this study shows, you need that human gut check, that peer discussion, to temper the AI's potentially naive optimism.
So it's about knowing when to lean on which source, injecting human sense into AI advice, and maybe using AI to double-check human consensus.
That's a great way to put it. Be mindful of where the advice is coming from and what its inherent potential weaknesses might be.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? As AI gets woven deeper into everything we do professionally, how do we make sure we're actually getting smarter, more accurate, and not just faster, or more confident in potentially flawed ways? How will you, listening now, adapt how you use these tools?
That's the question to ponder. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into AI, confidence, and the enduring value of human judgment.